I'm gonna get this. Look, see?
That's really good. Dude.
Kermit the Frog.
If you had vampire teeth,
oh yeah,
it could be a snake.
Like a snake, yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm getting a spasm in my ribs.
That's very creative. I've never seen anybody do that before, and that was...
All right, I will say that's totally original by me. No one taught me that, yeah.
I don't know any different, so that's outstanding.
Welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. Thanks for putting up with our nonsense. Hope you've had a good week. Thank you for joining us week on week. If it's your first time here, thank you for spending your time with us. We're going to be talking about the best things that we watched this week. We have an audio exclusive content that we do wherever you listen to your podcast. So we have a video segment where we do the best things we watch. We're doing Christmas films as well in the segment because it's the Christmas time. And then in the audio segment, we've been talking about films we haven't seen in a long time or have never seen. And we also talk about what's possibly not on the best thing that we watched. And we talk about some things that we're looking forward to. And they vary depending on how busy the weeks are. Sometimes they're crazy busy and sometimes it's almost nothing. So it just depends on, I don't know, marketing companies and release dates and all that. And then we talk about some entertainment news, which is always entertaining. Warner Brothers always gives us something to talk about, so that's always fun.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. Chris does a movie quick quiz at the beginning. That's kind of our format. We also have a Patreon. We're too busy, Chris. It's a lot to say at the beginning.
It is a lot to be. Yeah, well, that's okay.
£1 that starts at the Patreon. Literally just £1. So I think it's like $1.50. And we have a nice bunch of people that are supporting us now. Literally, some people just supporting us because they want to support us, which is awesome. But we're trying to make it worthwhile being there. So we have like over 70 videos there now, ranging from skits to movie reviews that we haven't put on our own channels to in-depth conversations and discussions about like the best Netflix shows or the worst or movie posters. Like we have a whole bunch in there, pie in the face. It's more of us just geeking out on the entertainment media. So I think if you join us there and you want to support us, whatever tier you start at, the cheapest one being £1, you're more than welcome to join us there. But do share around. If you enjoy our content, then the best way that you can support us is really just getting our names out there. Chris from Movies and Munchies, Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday, but the best thing that we watched, video and audio podcast. Thank you. We're going to start with Chris giving us the answers to last week's movie quiz.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know if it was just stumping people or they just didn't care. But we had two winners, Nostromo, Chris Retzlaff, both getting all of them.
Nice.
There was a theme.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the answers, and then you can tell me if you recognize the theme.
Right.
Reality Bites, Lord of War, Gattaca.
Huh. I think it was Gattaca. I thought Ethan Hawke. Lord of War I should have got because that's one of my favorite, and it's a Nic Cage film. I didn't get Reality Bites. Yeah, I think it's been a long time since I've seen that.
I watch Reality Bites fairly often.
Okay.
I think, just because it was so instrumental. Like that was the one right at the beginning of my college career.
Right.
And saw that, and so it was just great. And anyway, though, not a lot of people. Well, I don't know. My generation, our generation, kind of like it. Other generations, not so much. But funny enough, our oldest, he does like it. So that's good. Actually, both our kids like it. So yeah. Anyway, okay, you ready for this week?
Yeah.
All right. Another theme. Not going to tell you what that is, though. Okay. Number 1. When you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants in your room. It's for fun. Number 2. Just because it's your dream doesn't make it right or noble or whatever. Charles Manson was following his dream. Joseph Stalin, Michael Bolton. You get my point. Number 3. Tyler, I'm going to give you all my wishes for my birthday.
Okay.
Let us know in the comments. Give a little space for your guesses. We will give you the shout out next week. I know Ruben has a question, but I don't know what it is. Ruben, ask me your question.
I asked my wife for a question because I wasn't ready, and she gave me a good one. We've started rewatching. We love medical drama shows, and we like ones that are pretty accurate in their medical terminology, and seeing the actors trying to say them without breaking all these long medical terminologies. So we watched Grey's Anatomy. I think we're on the 2nd season. We've got so much. You're out of focus again. Here we go. We've got so much to catch up on. So we know that we can, watch an episode here and there and get involved with the characters and all of that. But they deal with death a lot in this show, obviously, in the hospital. And something that came up in one of the episodes was what do you do with the body afterwards? Like, once they're done at the hospital, do you put it in a coffin? Like, what do the people want? Do you cremate? Or do you get buried? And so the question is, cremation or getting buried? What are you going to do? What's the best choice for your family? How's that for a happy Christmas question?
Dude, do you know how prepared I am for this question? I love this question.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. My family knows. My wife is totally against it, but my family knows my wishes. I want to be cremated.
You're going to be scattered like an Everest or something.
Oh, no. No,
Okay.
I want to be cremated.
Right.
I want everybody to wear plaid flannels to the memorial celebration.
Yeah.
But do you guys have pixie sticks in the UK? It's like little paper straws that are filled with colored sugar.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they also make bigger ones that have plastic straws.
Right.
They're sealed on both ends, but they're big. Anyway, I want to have my remains, the ashes, put into a whole bunch of those and handed out as party favors, and they would be Chrissy sticks.
What is wrong with you?
Seriously. No, seriously, I do. I think it would be hilarious. My wife is completely against it, and she says, "Well, you're going to be dead. I'm not going to do it." And I'm like, "Come on,
put it in your will."
Laugh. Yeah, I know. I'm going to, dude. No, I'm serious. How awesome is that? But you'd have to have a big disclaimer: do not eat. That's gross. But yeah, so cremate me, because honestly, naked, toss me naked in a cardboard box and throw me in the furnace, which is actually kind of how they do it. I used to joke about that a lot, and then when my dad died and he wanted to be cremated, I helped push it into the incinerator thing, and no joke, it's a cardboard box. I was like, oh, I'm a little more accurate than I thought. That's a tasteless joke now, but that's okay.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, no, a cremation for me. How about you?
Well, in the UK, I don't know if the UK residents know this, but you are automatically on the donors list. You don't have to sign your name. You have to unsign your, if you don't want to be.
It. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can use my body to save someone else when I die, go for it. Give them an eye.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cremation, I think, is the best way. But I want people to have a party, celebrate the best things, but I want it to be an awesome party. So I'll have to
hands down. Yeah, no crying.
No crying. This is a celebration of life, and you've got to enjoy that you're still alive. I might make everybody, regardless, or maybe aging up, do a Jaeger bomb as you walk in, and
there you go.
Just something
to start the party off.
Yeah,
right?
just start it off right. And then make everybody
gets one. 8-year-olds, take it now.
I'm gonna make everybody. I'm gonna have a really terrible film in the background, Monty Python, or upset my dad. Do The Life of Brian, or
oh Lord,
at a funeral.
Yeah,
he's not the naughty boy. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. It's giving us a sign. It's the shoe.
Oh my gosh. That's weird.
I just wanted it to be really fun. Just do you remember that, Ruben's funeral? That.
Yeah.
I don't we were so sad. But
no, absolutely.
I have to think about the family, but I want them to remember me happily, not sadly. And funerals are so depressing anyway, aren't they? So
I thought about doing a video like in the IT crowd where I talked to the family, and then I said, "Okay, you can shut that off now," and then wait for a second, and then go, "Okay, so it's all buried in Father." Anyway, okay.
Being a YouTuber, I think it'll be pretty cool to have a bunch of messages for your family that release like yearly
after you're dead.
Yeah, after it's like, hey, don't do this. You should be watching this. Hey, let me tell you, like, just rattle off like 20 terrible dad jokes, or yeah, that could be fun.
Here's your yearly reminder that
your father's dead.
This is a terrible show, and you should never be watching it.
Hey, just so you know, goodness. Firefly was cancelled by Fox. They suck. Carry on. Just 10
but
seconds.
Hey, Family Guy was canceled 2 or 3 times, and look, it's back. So there you go.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Hey, did you keep my head? Like, if they do cryogenics, we could come back.
I want that written in my will too. Just put my head in a jar.
Yeah. Anyway, let's start the show.
Yes. You want to go first?
Yeah, jazz hands. We're starting the show. Yeah. If you can't see on audio, well done. That'd be weird.
You're missing out.
But I'm trying to do jazz hands. Jazz hands. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, sure. I'll start.
Okay.
Cool.
That kind of week, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so Yu Hakusho, based on a much-loved anime. So Netflix did another live action. We had One Piece, which was, I would say that was it was good.
I enjoyed it.
I don't think it's as brilliant as everybody is making it out to be, but I do think it was very good. Like, certainly the best we've had in a long time. And for the budget, you would expect so. I think they got the heart of it, the fun of it, which is what we wanted. And so I went into this a little bit worried. I've seen the anime myself, but it's old. Like, the anime is really old. But it is regarded as one of those greats, like one of the OPs, one of the originals. And it has a really interesting story. Now, off the bat, if you've watched the anime, you're going to notice that this season is 5 episodes, and they're only like 40 minutes long episodes, and they've crammed 60 episodes of the anime into these 5 episodes.
Holy crap.
Yeah. How they did that is completely miss out a tournament arc that they had in there, and also introduce characters at different points than they were actually introduced. They've basically taken what they thought was the best of the story and put that into 5 episodes. Now, if it's well received and people like it and there's good amount of watch time and we watch all the episodes, then I presume we'll get a second season, hopefully longer. They may even take the tournament arc and do that as the second season, and then we can get a third season. So there are ways about it. But I have to say, I thought this was excellent. Like, it was really good. Really fun, which surprised me because I was like, 5 episodes, what are they going to do? It is rushed, like introducing characters, non-stop action. Like, you care for their situation, but you don't care. Like, I could totally see if you'd never seen anime, you wouldn't be that emotionally engaged in the characters because there's a lot of characters to care about. There's a lot of action going on, and there's a lot of information about the world. The world building, the laws that they have. In case you don't know, Yu Hakusho, a delinquent teenager is killed and gets resurrected to serve as an investigator of the supernatural. Once again, IMDb coming in for the crap synopsis. So it starts off with this kid. He is like the guy that he's pretty smart. He just doesn't care much about life. Like, he's smart, but everybody thinks he's a delinquent or the bully, but he's actually the guy that stands up to bullies. He's the guy that gets blamed for things that it isn't his fault. He's actually the guy that's got a heart of gold, but nobody thinks that he does. And so something happens. Truck is heading for this young boy. He dives in and pushes the kid out the way, and he dies. And you're like, that's the first 10 minutes of, and you're like, oh, main character's dead. and he gets a chance to come back if he investigates these yokai, these demons coming from the spirit world to Earth somehow. And a long time ago, these worlds were separated. But somehow, because let's just say humans suck and they're always going to mess with things that they shouldn't be. So now we have small yokai basically possessing human bodies. And then the longer they stay in human bodies, the more twisted they become, and the more they become what they look like as yokais. And so what we get in this series is an amalgamation of really weird fighting, which is very interesting to watch, because as they are possessed with these different types of yokai, they can like run on walls and twist their bodies and stretch weirdly. There are different types and tiers of yokai, different strengths, and it is basically like an anime game. Like you're fighting, you think your character's decent at fighting, or Yu is, until he fights one weak yokai, and you're like, oh crap, he's having his ass handed to him. So you're gonna have a training montage episode, and the one in this is awesome. There's an old woman here that schools him and then teaches him how to do a handstand on pinpoint for 18 hours using like spirit energy. And he's like, oh, okay, this is really cool. So when it comes to the fighting, the martial arts and the choreography that they combine with the monster of the episode that they're fighting is done so well because you get to see it. And I would say the CGI has 3 tiers. There's like 60% is good, probably 30% is great, and then 10% not great. So it varies. There's some stuff you can totally understand why it's not great. Like there's a muscly monster dude that there's all sinew and tissue, and it's like the live action version of a Attack on Titan giant. That kind of looks like that, where all the muscle is exposed. And so your brain kind of like, it's not real, it's not real, that sort of thing. But during the action, you don't care at all. So when you see anime fights that you only see in anime in live action, and they've done it well, I'm like, dude, this is great. Like, I'm there for it. The characters are ridiculous, over the top. The costumes are what they were in the anime. There are a few things like the main character doesn't have the hair that he should. But it's not as bad as like what One Piece did. Usopp's character from One Piece was meant to have like a ridiculously long nose, and they just didn't do that. And it's like, if you're going to embrace anime, embrace it. Like, take the things that the anime is and put it on screen, because that's what the fans are going to want. Because that's really your big demographic. It's going to be those people that have watched the anime, want to see it. And then it'll be other people coming to it. Well, that looks interesting. I had a few comments. It was like, oh, here's another guy comparing it to the anime. It's like, of course I'm gonna. This is an adaptation from the anime. If you've seen the anime and you're reviewing, that's fine. If you haven't seen the anime and you're reviewing, that's also cool. But I have that to pull from, so I'm gonna reference that. So I can see why fans, like massively big fans of this anime, don't like it, because it's squished. It's all stuffed in there. I can see the tournament arc wanting to be there. I think they've taken what they've thought was good for this initial origin story, and if it works, like for Netflix and the amount of watch time they get, then I think we'll get a second season, and maybe hopefully that is the tournament arc. I don't want more of it. See, what this is it's not more of the same. It's the anime, but what works in live action. You got to do that. You can't translate completely, because it's how are you going to do 60 episodes of anime in a live action? No one's going to have the budget for that, and there's loads of fillers as well in the series, so they've gone and written all that.
What about like is there mystery with the investigations, or is it just that's the plot kind of to get you to the fight? There's
2 plots that are crossed over. So you have the investigation of the yokai, and how he's got to defeat the yokai. So he's got to have that training. And then there's there's 3 sort of weapons that stronger yokai have, and they shouldn't have. So he's got to take out the three main ones. And then there's the big arc as to how and why and who's forcing that all into. So it works its way into the end, and we understand why it's happening. I mean, the last episode and a half is like a big battle in a like stadium area, and that's great. It's exactly what you'd want. Like,
is it cliffhanger ending, or does it kind of?
No, it wraps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it did end, it's somewhat satisfying.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
But
yeah.
Okay.
But honestly, it looks great. The acting is good. It's really fun, and you like once you start, I think you'll just like fly through it, easily bingeable. Nice. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No, it's been on my list to watch. I just didn't get the opportunity this week, so that's fun that it's.
One caveat: watch in the original language. Don't listen to the dub. For some reason, a lot of the dubbing and the voices sound very similar to each other, so it's hard to differentiate. Like, I was like, no, just read, guys. You can handle that.
Yeah, I can't do the dub.
No.
It's too much. It's good. Cool. All right. Well, definitely gonna give that some time to watch. Mine, I got to see a early screening this week of The Iron Claw. I am familiar with some wrestling. You know, I watched it when it was WWF.
Right.
And that tells you, how long it was. I was not a massive fan, and I didn't watch it all the time. It was just kind of I knew some of the characters. I would watch a little bit of it. I had friends, though, who were like hardcore into it. And they would go to WrestleMania whenever they could, or all these different, when the events came to town, they would go.
Yeah.
Everything. That was not me. It was something mildly entertaining, and silly sometimes that I would just watch a little bit of. So I didn't know, first off, that this was a true story, based on a true story, and real people, not characters,
right.
Real people.
It's Zac Efron, right?
Zac Efron, Harris Dickinson, Jeremy Allen White, Holt McCallany, Maura Tierney, Lily James. This beautifully tragic is like the best way to say this.
Okay.
We learn right from the very beginning that the Von Erich family, who is a wrestling family, there is a Von Erich curse, and it's tied to the name. They believe that, at least.
Okay.
And so once the dad takes on that last name, it was a family name, but it was like from like a grandmother or something like that. So it wasn't actually his last name through marriage, but anyway, it was still a relative. Anyway, once he takes that on, the family begins to just experience tragedy. And
weird.
These are, and it doesn't even matter if you believe the curse or not, because like Lily James is not part of the family. She's the love interest of Zac Efron, and she keeps telling him there is no curse.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to believe in the curse, but holy crap. This movie has so much melancholy in it, because we watch this wrestling family, and it starts in it starts in black and white when the kids are really little. And then when we catch back up, it's like late 60s going into the early 70s, maybe early 70s, and then going into the 80s even. Actually, no, it's probably late 70s going into the 80s. Zac Efron, wow. Best performance I've ever seen him in.
Okay.
I mean, he is riveting, especially because he has to showcase so many different emotions. And within the setting of this, which is pretty time appropriate, the dad and the mom, they are detached parents. So when any of the brothers come to and they're adults now, or late teenagers, like the youngest brother is a late teenager, but when they come to the parents with an issue, work it out with your brothers, work it out amongst yourselves.
Wow.
So the family, the mom and the dad don't offer things. I mean, even one where the dad is being really, really hard on one of the sons. Zac Efron goes to his mom and says, "You need to talk to him. He's being too hard on." And she's like, "Work it out with your brothers." What the crap? You know what I mean?
What kind of
and
parenting is that? That's so weird.
Well, that was the, the 60s, 70s.
True. We didn't want to
figure it out.
Yeah, there was no such things as helicopter parents then, was there? It was basically not parenting.
No. Yeah, exactly. And I understand, they wanted to make them tough. They wanted to make them ready for the world, to figure things out, and everything else. Large level of dysfunction there also. But that's captured really, really well. And you see all of these boys striving for their father's attention and his affection and his approval. At the very beginning of the movie, he talks about how he has favorites and and what his ranking of them is, and that it's fluid and that it could always change.
That is so manipulative. Like that's your one job as your parent, is never to choose to love them equally, regardless of whether one is pissing you off or not.
Dude. Well, and because think about it. You have these boys that are growing up because their dad was a wrestler. They're now, that's the family business. You wrestle.
That's what you do. Yeah.
But what happens if you don't want to? And we get to see some of that. And the dysfunction that goes in there. But I'm telling you, man, it is sad. It is overwhelmingly sad. Okay. But there is joy that is tiny bits here and there. And had the ending not given us the glimpse that we see, I don't think I would have liked this nearly as much. Because what we would watch is just a tragic story play out that leaves you hopeless. And what you're hoping for the entire time is that one of these brothers is going to change. They're gonna recognize how wrong their environment is, and make a change for the better. You know what I mean? And you want that to go, and you want that to happen. In the true story, there's one more brother that's not even mentioned, featured in this. I think the reason that they kept that brother out is because of the tragedy surrounding him is so similar to the tragedy around another brother that it would have just felt repetitive. And for a story, you know what I mean? It's tough when you're doing these based on true events, because some people in the comments were very upset that this story was taken out, and I can understand that from a historical aspect, but also from a storytelling aspect. I'm not sure I could take more.
I was just going to say, if it was that sad already, could you handle even more of the same?
Well, it just pounds you into the ground. I mean, the movie does, and this is on the best thing that I watched this week. So I mean, it is a tremendous movie. The acting is across the board is wonderful. The parents, you hate the parents. You want to hate the parents because of just how they behave. And they execute that well, which is, it's always risky and tough to do. You don't want to, and it's not like they beat their children or that they keep them from having food or shelter or anything like that. I mean, they're well fed. They're, it's just the emotional manipulation and the psychological beating that they get from not having the approval or not having the love, that they need.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It comes out right before Christmas, at least in the US. And it is a phenomenal movie. I really hope that Zac Efron is recognized for his performance.
Right.
Because you see a very mature performance in this, where he rides that line of falling in line with your dad. You know what I mean? Like towing the line. I'm using the word line a lot, but like his behavior, his dad expects his behavior to be this. So he does that. But within his being, without even saying anything, you watch the devastation and the conflict that's going on inside him. And then you get to see how that progresses. There are payoffs, which is outstanding. One thing that was kind of unique is that when tragedies would happen, when bad things would go off, we weren't shown them. We only got to watch after the fact. And like you led up to it, and then you knew what was happening. I mean, you it's not like, well, gosh, what happened there? No, it's very clear. It's very understandable. They chose to not show something violent or gory or grotesque because it didn't need to be, and it would take away from the emotional impact of that part of the story. You know, the part that we want to focus on has nothing to do with any violence that's shown. It's all of the emotional and physical outcome afterwards.
So don't go in.
That happens.
So is there good wrestling in it, but it's not a wrestling movie?
There is wrestling in it. I thought the wrestling was great.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. They do a good job of showing us some extended scenes and then the cuts from different angles, like you would see in a wrestling match, on TV or something like that. So you have all these differing angles, and I thought it was fun. And there are moments where it's like you feel them hitting the mat or hitting the ground or whatever, and you're like, wow. The movie is slow. Okay, it's over 2 hours, and there are parts in this that I thought were absolutely beautiful. I mean, just spellbinding in the visuals, but it also takes time. I mean, it lengthens what you're watching. So if you're expecting something faster paced or you're impatient, you're not going to enjoy that part of it.
Because we had that other wrestling movie, also based on a true story, but it had heart, but it was about the young female.
Oh, Fighting with My Family.
Yeah. Which I love,
yeah.
But I'm guessing this is a very different style.
Very different story. Yeah. I mean, that one is more comedy and
this one is
upbeat.
Not, by the sounds of it, yeah.
This one is not, yeah. There's a scene, and it's shown in the trailer, where you see the back of somebody, and it's Zac Efron, and you see the one rope of the ring. The rope is in focus. The shot never changes, and the focus doesn't change. And so you watch Zac Efron run to the other thing, bounce off of it, come back, and then bounce off the rope, and then go to the opposite side and do this a couple of times. In context for what's going on, it is powerful. If you just see it in the trailer, it just looks kind of artsy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
but in context.
In context, it translates so well. I think it was funny because the screening I went to was I got in as press, but it was also a paid public screening. So like you could buy tickets or early access. It was weird. Yeah, no, I got invited the day before.
That's weird.
Just because they had some extra seats, and so they opened it up for press. But there's a demographic that was there at this screening.
All right.
Most of them had tank tops on. Most of them were wearing sweatpants. When we walked in, they assumed I was a wrestling fan also, because they were like, "Whoa, ready to see our wrestling? Yeah!" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Do you think a lot of them were disappointed or devastated? Because you can go in expecting.
I don't know. I got the sense that they knew who the Von Erichs were.
Right.
So they understood the story before it even began.
Okay.
That there's a lot of tragedy with this and everything, and just how iconic I guess the family was within wrestling and then the WWF. And so they had a different appreciation for it, which I think is great. And I'm seeing that in my comments too, that, these people, a lot of the people that are seeing it or want to see it, they're wrestling fans.
Right.
So they have a lot of context for this. For your average moviegoer, this is a spectacular story to watch. I mean, it is human, and it is terrible, and it is, awesome, and like just captivating. I can see it kind of polarizing people, maybe, because if you don't click with somebody, if you don't click with the characters or whatever, or even the emotion of the story, it then becomes very long and boring. Because there's more focus on the family aspect and the relationships than there is on the wrestling, even though the wrestling is interwoven throughout, and that's the the theme of this. But
this won't be a Christmas movie in the UK because it only comes out on the 9th of February.
February,
yeah. So
I don't even know what that.
Because I was going to say maybe not a Christmas movie, because that's not going to put you in a particularly Christmassy mood.
No, but you know what? I mean, Les Miserables came out at Christmas time.
That's true.
And while it has hope and, the redemptive story woven throughout and forgiveness and everything, I mean, that's a heavy story,
but
too.
Does this?
At the end, there is and that's the thing. The end, holy crap, there is a small set of lines that it just gave me chills, actually, because of how emotionally gut punching it is in the best way possible. Like, in this moment, you see a switch, and it comes about not necessarily in the way that you would expect. And I mean, so from there, and then it's quick after that. I mean, it's like it happens. There's like maybe a minute, of action, and then it goes to the title cards at the end, giving us information on the family after the movie ends. And and it's just I thought it was a beautiful way to end it.
Okay.
Really. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I mean, I would see this at Christmas and not be disappointed.
Right.
But it is not a light Christmas movie. You know what I mean? It's not a light movie to go into. So if you're looking for something just low key or whatever, just that you can smile at, this is not the one to watch.
Okay. Reacher season 2.
This is on your list, huh?
Yeah. I liked it.
Okay.
I didn't like it as much as I liked season 1. And that was because there was much less action, and I felt like he wasn't allowed to carry himself as much. He was getting much more tired. The action was written weird for Alan Ritchson, because he'd fight one guy and he'd be tired. He'd fight another guy, be tired. Then he'd fight 9 guys and be fine. And I'm like, what? When we did get the action, the big fight sequences from him is excellent, really well done. I think the difference this time is we have a big team, and we have lots of long flashback sequences to get to know that team, which I guess adds weight to you caring about them somewhat. I prefer the Lone Ranger sort of, the team building along the way. Here it's established like from the get-go, and that this is the story. It's based on the 11th book from Lee Child. So it's like we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna pick this one and do this story.
I like this story. Let's do this one.
Yeah. Okay. He talks more in this one. Like for me, the character. This is what you didn't like, which I loved. Like season 1, the character barely spoke. He was the stoic, strong guy that was good, and we just knew he was good from his actions. In this one, he talks a lot more, and we have a lot more understanding as to who he was, because we have these long flashbacks with him, with his team, as to like he even has a sort of relationship and all that. I thought the bad guy was generic as heck. Like, I'm gonna steal these missiles, and now you guys. And I was like, seriously, like I thought the storyline was much more emotional because it was his brother, so I cared about him getting vengeance. Or finding out who had killed his brother in season 1. This time around, it was the team that I guess is kind of like his family, but I mean, he has a toothbrush and that's about it. So I really did enjoy it, but it was like not what I expected for season 2. It has already been greenlit for season 3. So yeah, what did you think, Chris?
Well, considering my review of season 1 was my most liked video of that year, I kid. It was the most disliked video. I pissed everybody off, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'll get to my thoughts about that in a second. But the some dude was like, good to see you actually liked this season. You're just a beta male who didn't like the first season. And I'm like, you're kind of stupid, because the alpha version is the worst version ever because it's the first thing. It's with all of the problems and everything. The beta is the one that's almost ready for market. I don't
think he knows what he's actually saying.
Yeah. Thank you for calling me a beta male, because that means I'm closer to being good and ready for prime time than you are as a rough draft.
Jog. That's not.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think he doesn't understand that Alan Richmond's character, just because he's big and buff. He's not the alpha male. He's the guy that's thinking all the time. Yeah. All right, whatever. Yeah. Okay.
I had a lot of fun with this season.
Okay.
I liked I liked getting the team and the flashbacks, because that was everything that I was missing in the first season, is that this dude is a stranger, and so I have zero reason to care about him. He doesn't talk. Sure, he's a good guy, whatever. So is the cop that he befriends, the detective. He's a good guy too. I don't know him either, okay, his brother died. I'm sorry, that's sad, but because I have no emotional tie to you. And I thought the mystery in that one was pretty stupid. This one, at least there was a little bit of intrigue, because you had what's his name, Terminator, the T-2000,
Patrick.
Robert Patrick, yeah. In here, but then you had a different bad guy also. And I liked that bad guy because I didn't necessarily know exactly what his thing was.
But they were building up. No, I really liked him until the end. They were building up a big crescendo bad guy face-off. And I was like, really? Come on. I wanted to see them go head-to-head. That's the fight I wanted to see.
Sure. No, I get that. The action I thought was a lot of fun. I mean, when it happened, there were some brutal moments. There was one where Reacher snaps some dude's shin, like the leg just
not once, like it breaks and then he breaks it again.
And then it was, he did gnarly things to people. But so did the rest of the team. I thought that was really great. And I love the connection that we see with them, because I'm okay with him being this solitary guy who goes around righting the wrongs. He's Sam Beckett, who just doesn't time travel.
Right.
I'm okay with that. But I need to understand why he does this, and more so care about him as a character, so that when he does go and do these things and there's peril involved, I care that, that happens, that
here's an interesting reflection. You could almost have watched season 2 first, then watch season 1, because you have all that background about who he is.
Yeah, which I probably would have liked season 1 a whole lot more had I, because I have this connection. There are stupid moments in this. There are some terrible dialogue at points.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there is like some over explanation, and there are some things where it's like, dude, are you
The
serious?
exposition dumping did piss me off in this one. Yeah, I was just like, this is a lot.
Yeah, there are some villain monologues where I'm like, really? Did you? We have this here because this and this and this. Are you kidding me? Because we already know what that's from other dialogue before. You could just hold it up and said, here's, and there you go. Then we instantly know who that is, what that is, and everything else. And so yeah, so some of that, I mean, this was not an awesome series for me, but I liked it so much more than the first season.
Yeah.
Which I was hoping for, and that was the thing. I went in with an open mind, and the dynamics between the team, I think, are great. Because you have that, the guy with the switchblade and the brass knuckles. He's the smallest of the group, and he is. I was
going to say, I think they should have kept that story as the main arc. There's this person that's hunting the team to kill them off, like a really well trained sort of killer, but assassin, and them figuring out like how to find him and take him out before he kills them all. Great story. Simple but effective. But then it works its way into this like villain caricature that didn't really it didn't bring anything to the story.
Yeah, that becomes the generic aspect of it versus I was engaged. See, that was the thing. I was engaged with that story arc of the team being knocked off. Because now I get to see who the team is and what they mean to Reacher, what they mean to each other. And you see the camaraderie, the friendships, all of these things growing, and then even some doubt thrown in to how it's coming about.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I'm invested in this part of it because I know who they are. And that's what really hooked me in.
I'm still excited to see what they do with the third season. Yeah.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I thought the ending was great because not with the villain, but after that part. It was totally predictable.
Yeah.
Just absolutely predictable. But it was still funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great because, he's like, I need a new toothbrush. And they're like,
that's what you're going to do
serious?
with the
money. Because, when he pulls it out of his jacket, like halfway through the season or whatever, and you look at it, it's got duct tape on it.
Yeah, because it's snapped. Yeah, and he's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like, oh, he's serious. That's what he's doing. Cool.
Yeah. But see, and it makes all of that, his lifestyle makes sense. Because it's woven throughout all of the flashbacks, so that it completely just works within there. I think they missed out greatly by not giving us a character driven, like something to really care about, versus meathead go beat some people up and grunt a lot. That's what season 1 is with terrible mystery. So I don't know. I just pissed more people off again because they love season 1. I'm sorry. It's a terrible season, especially as a first season. Maybe as a second season, it might be good. But anyway, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, Chris. It's fine.
If you hurt your feelings, I'm sorry.
So what was the second thing? If Reacher wasn't your number 2, what was the second thing on your list?
Poor Things.
Interesting, because I've heard very mixed responses. Some people have this on their worst film of the year, and some people give this 5 stars. So it's I was interested to see your review on this. So Poor Things.
Emma Stone, again, like Zac Efron in The Iron Claw. Emma Stone, wow, her performance is off the charts. So good. This is kind of a Frankenstein story. I had somebody make a comment that it's we're watching people take advantage of a child's brain inside an adult's body and then use it for sexual pleasure. And I'm like, I'm not sure you actually saw the movie, because that's not really what happens. And then when she does begin to be taken advantage of, the person who's doing that, we are already known to have it's established that this person is a terrible person, that they are already despicable, that they are already self-absorbed, that they are just, they're not representative of the good things in humanity.
Is there quite a bit of sex in this? Because that's one of the comments I saw.
There is a ton of sex, a ton of nudity. It's explained. The general premise is that we have Willem Dafoe as this scientist, this doctor. His name is Dr. Godwin. That's his first name, Godwin Baxter. She calls him God, which is going to piss people off also. So you hear about, oh, God did this. Well, God says this, and it's like, oh, okay, you're going to be upset about that.
Yeah.
But I think you'd be upset anyway about about all the sex and nudity. So there you go. But he in an experiment, but out of a, he's doing it as an experiment, but there's also a nobility within there. He takes an unborn infant and places its brain in its deceased mother's head and then reanimates.
I mean, that shouldn't even be possible, but yeah.
No, it should. Well, you have to
fiction.
get rid. This is fantasy.
Yeah.
Yes, this is fiction. This is, but it is also explained that the brain in Emma Stone's body is progressing exponentially fast.
Oh,
so
aging.
She's not aging, but becoming mature.
All right, growing up.
So it's not like she's 3 for a year, and then she's 4 for a year, and 5 for a year. You know what I mean? So she's truly, 34 years behind what her body looks like.
Right.
She's exponentially, as each day goes by and week, she's leapfrogging. And so we watch this progression, and that's where Emma Stone's performance becomes phenomenal, because we watch her at the very beginning speak in very stunted, very just broken sentences, just like one word here and there. When you put them together, it kind of makes sense. I mean, you can kind of get an idea of what she's saying. When she walks, it's like, it's kind of a cross between a toddler and Frankenstein, so the legs kick out without really bending the knees, and she's stiff and everything else.
What an interesting role for an actor to play.
Yeah, well, it is. And as the story goes along, though, and it's minor each time, we watch little nuances in her change, from her speech to her expressions to her body movements. I mean, it just, she progresses. And I love the fact that this is a story where she is in control of her, which is going to put a lot of alpha males in the in the US, put them off, because they're like, no, you don't get to think for yourself, woman. You are less than. Go in the kitchen, make me a sandwich. And she is, there's I had mentioned that villain arc, or the guy that is terrible, takes advantage. There's a comeuppance for that sort of. There's justice that comes in there. The movie's long. Okay. It's told in a couple of chapters. It's beautifully filmed, beautifully. I mean, it looks like I said a Wes Anderson nightmare. At times.
If you go into this movie knowing who directs it, then you have no excuse. Like, this is the guy that did Dogtooth, The Lobster, The Favorite, The Killing of the Sacred Deer. Like,
yes,
it's
Yorgos
artsy but
Lanthimos.
weird. Yeah, it's
and I did not like Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh, did you not?
I did not enjoy that at all.
Did you like The Favorite?
And I haven't seen it. I want to see it though.
Okay, yeah.
But knowing, yes, that it was going to be absolutely strange. Like my wife actually looked at the trailer and she was like, yeah, I'm not going to go see that.
Yeah. And I think that's the correct response. You either go, yeah, that's me, or no. There's no middle ground with this one, I think.
No. And I think that's what you're seeing in the reactions, that you either loved it or you hated it. There's not a kind of like, well, it was okay. I loved it. I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
Interesting.
Willem Dafoe is spectacular. I know what I was going to say about the time, the length. So we're going along, and then we get to the final chapter, and they introduce a new character. I'm sorry, what?
Wow.
So I really noticed the time there, because it was like, how much more is this than if you're introducing this character? Now, on the conclusion, we need that part.
Right.
It's an excellent moment for the story. While this is messed up and weird and everything else and very depressing in certain spots, I mean, it's definitely a dark film. There are funny moments in there, like laugh out loud funny moments, like a whole bunch of them. Not continuous belly laugh, but like you'd laugh because this thing was funny. It's abrupt, and you laugh once, then it happens again, and my dog is
dog box.
Telling the UPS man that he's not happy. It ends though on an upbeat. There's bizarre visuals in this. Going back to Willem Dafoe, I know I'm jumping all over the place, and I apologize, but Willem Dafoe has this messed up makeup. I mean, it's gnarly.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense for his story, which is explained.
Okay.
There's oddities all around this. I love, though, how as we get to know him, the visual deformations, they become transparent. Like you don't even notice it anymore because we're now seeing more of the character of him, who starts out very, very gruff, very cold, very ugly, really. And then he's not that way as time goes on. I think it was really well done, and I know that it's not going to be for a lot of people, or maybe even most people.
So this comes out in the US now?
It is in limited release. Like it came out on, what is this? It was supposed to come out on the 7th, something like that, the 6th, the
December.
8th. Yeah, it was supposed to come out the 8th of December. It didn't come to my area until the 15th.
Right.
So, but then I have other people who are like, I have to drive 50 miles to the nearest theater that's playing this. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. So it must be like in limited or staggered release.
It's staggered, I think, because we're only getting it like the 6th of January. So it's...
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it did come out like to festivals like in September. But
yeah. So I know a lot of people saw it in festivals and stuff. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know how it was for you in the UK, but when Parasite came out, like it was, I think, 2 months had already been out, like in public before it got to where I was at. And then I could only see it at our art house cinema, which was fine. I mean, it was great, but it's something like that. So I don't know, because again, my son works at a theater, and his theater had the posters up and a stand-up, like a big stand-up of the movie.
They're just not showing it.
And they're not playing it.
Wow.
I was like,
why advertise a movie that's not coming to your cinema?
Yeah, don't tease me like that, because that one is like 6 miles away versus the other one that's 15 miles away. You know, I'm going to drive half the distance. And anyway, it's, I would suggest watching the trailer. If you do not get a good feeling from the trailer, like it sparks something that's like, ooh, I would like to see this, or I'm curious about this, something like that, don't see it. I mean, if you have something...
Do you think it's better to watch this at home? Because I reckon this will come to streaming very quickly, or VOD. Or is it a visual big film? Because from the trailer, it certainly is a weird aesthetic, and it seems quirky, but in a good way.
I think you're going to... It's filmed with a fisheye and wide angle. So for a lot of it, no joke, I actually even thought at one point that it was filmed like with a 360 camera.
Wow.
Because the concave, you can feel it.
Weird.
And so the edges of the screen are literally bent and warped.
Interesting choice. Okay.
Yeah, it's consistent though. I mean, I give him that it's not like a gimmick for one or two shots. He also does this really closed in type of, like an extreme, like the most extreme vignette you could ever place onto something. Like it's just like you're looking through a peephole,
right.
And everything else around it is black, and you just you follow the characters. So it's weird. I think you would lose some of that aesthetic by watching it at home. But then also, on the flip side, you can pause it.
Yeah. Also, you might not find it at your local cinema.
Well, this is true also. I think, yeah. This was, again, I'm not going to watch this again. I don't think I'll ever have a need to rewatch this. But it's done really well. Visually, it is spectacular, very creative. The acting, whether or not you you like the characters, I mean, some of them you're designed to hate. They do just outstanding. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. Should we talk about our Christmas movie?
Yes. I'm so excited that we chose this one, even though we've already talked about it multiple times over the years.
We have, yeah. Every Christmas there are movies that we like to rewatch that put us in the Christmas mood. And I honestly wasn't feeling Christmas this year at all because both my boys are at uni. They've actually just arrived back today, so I'm happy about that. But house is cold and empty, and I'm just like, I don't want to. Can I just go back to sleep? So eventually, after discussion, we decided to watch Love Hard. And it's one of Netflix's original Christmas movies. It stars Nina Dobrev as Natalie Bauer and Jimmy O Yang as Josh Lin. And it's about a woman that she is a journalist, and they basically chronicleize her broken love life where she goes on these terrible dates and meets terrible men who just are awful. And some of the dates you see at the beginning are hilarious. Like they are terrible. But then she finds like the perfect guy, and she checks him out and seems like he's all on the up and up. But when she arrives there, she finds out that it's Jimmy O Yang and not this perfect looking dude who's played by Darren Barnett, Tag. And that's where the shenanigans start, and that's where I think we really fall in love with the film. Also stars people like James Saito, who's Bublin, who is just, he's the best dad character.
Yeah.
And then there's the grandma, who I absolutely love. I don't know her name, but she is. Yeah, Athea K, who's Grandma Junlin. Yeah. She's wonderful.
She's so inappropriate at the breakfast table.
Oh my
it was
gosh.
Awesome.
My wife loves this movie for one reason, and that is the song that they sing, that they change the lyrics to. Baby, it's cold outside.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah. It's hilarious and really funny. Why do you like this movie?
Yes. Because, I mean, it's a combination of so many other movies. Right. I mean, you have Love Actually in this. You don't have Die Hard, even though Love Hard, because there's an ongoing conversation of, is Love Actually the better Christmas movie?
What is the best Christmas movie? Yeah.
Yeah. We've already established that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So,
yeah.
But anyway, so they go back and forth with that. But then you have some feelings of While You Were Sleeping. The whole thing shouldn't work. I think that's what was so surprising, is that it's taking ideas from all kinds of other movies and then putting them together. And then it's very, very predictable. And yet Nina Dobrev she's unlikable and likable all at the same time.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
She's been catfished but then she catfishes somebody else. And so you're like, dude, how do you don't even, you're doing the exact thing that was made you mad, and yet you have no problem doing it.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you see what it is that you're doing? I also was really surprised that Nina Dobrev worked, because I watched a terrible series, Vampire Diaries, and she's like the main character, and it's not good. It's so teen. And you end up liking it because you've seen so much of it, you want to know how the story ends and what happens, like a soap does. And so when I saw her, when this first came out, like as the main lead, I was like, oh dear, this could be really cringy. And she's good, she's fine, but I think Jimmy or Yang compliments her in such a way that they elevate each other's comedy.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, she is actually really funny in this, which is, I mean, she has some good timing, but I think it more so works because you have Jimmy O Yang in this also, he's so likable, even though he did bad things too. I mean, he's the one that catfished her at the very beginning, and it's just. But
when you find out why, like, and he didn't mean to, like, he wasn't one of those creepy dudes that was catfishing her to do stuff. He was so surprised when he sees her, like, what are you doing here? And the parents' reaction. But you're his girlfriend.
You're
really?
his girlfriend.
You gotta love the brother though as well.
Oh my gosh, that dynamic and the attention-seeking whore that he is.
Jeez.
I mean,
he's obsessed with it. Like, he's so. I mean, I don't know where that character deficit comes from. Then, like, always trying to prove himself to be
which is funny because his parents fawned over him already, so it's not even like a lack of.
Yes, like, what happened? What made you like that?
You're just a broken person. That's all that is. You're just so self-centered. I mean, I love the sweetness. There's that moment where they do something out of necessity and they're hiding in a car.
Yes,
and that's when they have this good conversation where you really. You see a big switch flip, I think, where the emotions that's the turning point. I think, more so than anything else. And I mean, I like that the characters learn their lessons. None of it should work. I think that's where it gets to me, is that none of this should work. And yet when we watched it the first time a couple of years ago when it came out, it was like, oh my gosh, this is an instant classic. Like, this is an instant rewatchability and something that I want to watch every single Christmas because of how funny, how touching, how sentimental it is. Because even the conflict is minor conflict.
Yeah.
So it maintains that happy feeling, even though there is some tension within it.
It's got Christmas music, Christmas singing, Christmas presents, crazy family. It ticks all the right boxes and then manages to keep you interested and caring for the characters. So, yeah, this was good. Again, and I think we've seen it like once every year since it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Do you have an anime or animation or something for your over 9,000 segment?
Yeah.
Over 9,000.
Jujutsu Kaisen. I'd been leaving the episodes because I wanted a bunch to watch together, and so the second season has been playing. We now only have 3 left of the season, so it's building up to the end of the second season. But again, I think it's just like the first time where most fans of anime will agree that at the moment there isn't a better anime out there than Jujutsu Kaisen in terms of quality and story, what you get on screen, what you see, and how brutal it is. Like, you think characters are safe, but that's not true. Like, you can have an established character that's been around for 40 episodes and just like that, they'll be taken out. There's mostly no trick. Like, a lot of other anime have this thing where they're like, regeneration jutsu, and so you've killed off your characters, but you bring them back some magical way. This one, even though it's all ninja and spirits and stuff. If a character dies, they're generally dead. They're like part of the story is that there's this dead character that's back, but only for a certain time and being used as an enemy. And so that person comes to face with like another part of their family that they have to fight because they're being controlled, and then they come out of it for a split second, are able to control their dead body, and what they do is incredible. Like, there are moments like that are just so well written into the storyline. There's also deep dives you can do if you love anime and you want to know why it's so good. There are like these stop frames that most people won't see, but what they put into, there's little messages from the creators that you can see.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because they love what they're doing so much, and you know that they grind on it, because how it's shown is some of the most beautiful, interesting, gory, brutal, like all the expressive words I could use to make you watch an anime that is good and also just fun. It's one that I think people will rewatch. It's one of those that you'll see clips of on YouTube Shorts of anime, like, have you seen this fight? And then people are like, what is that? I need to see that. That's what they would showcase for good anime. I reckon it's going to be in those top 5. You know, what are the top 5 animes that I should watch if I'm getting into anime? It's always like Naruto, One Piece, possibly Bleach and Full Metal Alchemist, and this Jujutsu Kaisen is going to be right up there. So watch it.
How you know how big into anime I am.
There's a movie called Jujutsu Kaisen 0 that you could probably watch to see if you'd like it.
Does it have context so somebody who's never seen any of Jujutsu Kaisen can get into it?
You could get a recap. Like, if you're not actually going to, you could do like a recap of season 1 and then just watch the movie, and then you'll be like, oh, I see why. It's the same reason why you should watch Mugen Train for another anime. How did I pronounce that right? Mugen Train.
Yeah, that was wasn't that a movie that just came out like in the last year or so? Yeah,
it's a Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. One of the best anime movies I've ever seen. Honestly, it's excellent. But there's a season of weight behind it.
Okay. Well, these are long seasons. I mean, season 2, at least according to IMDb, is 23 episodes.
Yeah, normally they're 12, but they have a lot of story to tell. And if it keeps going like it is, we could have 4 or 5 more seasons, because there's enough manga to do that, adapted from.
How long are the episodes?
Standard anime, like
22 minutes.
22 minutes, yeah.
25.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad you like it. I don't know if I'll get into this.
It's one of those that every time I get to the end, it's like, I swear we just started this episode.
Oh. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's good. I mean, that's how do you watch it in sub or dub?
No, original language. All the way. Yeah, all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know, because that's, some are fine.
Yeah.
Others.
I think the only way I get you to watch anime is like movies. So maybe it's time we choose a anime movie again.
I gotta tell you, I've been hankering to rewatch Akira. That I love Akira.
Yeah, we should totally do that. That's such a good film.
Me and my kids saw that a couple years ago at a theater, and oh my gosh, it was so great on the big screen.
But normally that's the starting point that launches people into the world of anime.
What happened? It's not that I think anime is bad by any means. It's just I don't know. Some of it, like the what's his name? The Studio Ghibli stuff is just it's beautiful, but it's weird. And
you don't like weird? I love weird.
I love weird. I love weird, but sometimes I'm just not in that weird mood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fair.
I don't know.
Akira's not weird?
Oh, Akira's very weird. Akira's so weird. Especially the last, third of the movie.
Third of the movie is bonkers. I love it.
What?
Yeah.
So I'm down to watch a movie.
When I visit again, we're gonna have an anime day. I'm gonna sit you down. I'm like, right. We need to sort these out.
Okay. Fair enough. Fine, we will do that.
Hey, man, I watched your Broncos thing.
And you're better for it.
Am I? Actually,
okay,
I am.
You did watch The Way Back.
Yes.
So
that was incredible. Yeah, that was great. No. I was just thinking about the deer, and it was cracking me up. So yeah.
Oh man.
And what's his face is amazing in that.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Attack those. I hate those. All right. Do you have anything else on your list? Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, we have our Patreon opportunity, patreon.com/thebeardedones. That entry price, like Ruben had talked about, £1. Gets you in over 70 videos there. And different tiers if you'd like, but the £1 gets you into access for everything.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
on
talk
the
about
6th
this at the beginning
of January. Yeah,
that's exactly it.
We have our live action adaptation from our podcast to live action. So we're doing it live basically on both our channels at the same time. It's going to be interesting. I'm sure it's going to be messy, but it'll be really fun. That's on the 6th of January. I really should have said this at the beginning. So if you're still listening, thank you. Then you guys are most likely the ones that will be with us on the live.
Oh man. Well, wherever you happen to listen to podcasts, if you could rate and review us, if you've never have, that would be outstanding too. And then don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that silly YouTube-y stuff, because it does help us. Seriously. The like, you may not think that that's anything, but the like, just doing that, YouTube sees that and goes, oh, okay. And they share it along, which is huge for us. But Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday, me, Chris, Movies and Munchies, that we will see you next week. Take care.